Hi there, it's Naomi here, and I run programs and courses which I call the Food Freedom Steps. And these courses are to help women recover their happiness, freedom, and joy when it comes to food and eating, their body weight, and their body image, which is an issue that plagues so many of us, and myself included. And I've totally recovered around these issues. I'm now thriving in my life. And my life, my work, has become about sharing that process with other people, other women. And people often say to me, okay, tell me, what are the food freedom steps? Like, just dish the dirt, go a little bit deeper into what I can expect if I'm going to sign up for one of your courses or programs, or if I'm going to work with you individually. And so I decided to create this video to really give a bit of a broad brushstroke over some of what you could expect if you decide to embark on the food freedom process. So I created something visual, like a visual aid, to help describe a little bit about the process. So I'm going to share my screen with you now, and I'm going to come right over to this slide. And here it is. So this is something that we look at early on. I call it the six-pointed star of FAB freedom, food and body image freedom. And for me, this basically covers everything that we need to know in order to really recover over the long run, and the things that we need to be doing to cultivate and maintain our recovery as we regain our health, our happiness, our peace of mind, lose weight if that's necessary, gain weight if that's necessary, because some people struggle in the opposite direction, and really find the happiness and freedom we're seeking. It really basically goes from 1 to 6 in the same order that I found freedom myself. And obviously, we're not always going to be the same. Our process won't be completely linear, and mine certainly wasn't. So definitely, I would see the star more as a garden than a set of steps in any kind of linear way. And so just like in any garden, if we want it to stay beautiful, vibrant, healthy, growthful, and not choked by weeds, etc., we need to just be having kind of an overview of the garden and spending a bit of time weeding in the areas where we might need to give a bit of attention we might have been neglecting in that area. I'm going to very briefly talk you through these different points on the star. And point 1, which I always would say is the number 1 point to look at and to start to develop, is a daily practice of silence and breath. And I don't call this meditation, because meditation is a bit advanced for some, and it certainly was for me at the beginning. But a basic breath practice can really start to unwind some of the worst of what's been keeping us a slave to food, obsessed with food, etc. And to start to do this on a regular basis really helps us to create awareness about our issue with food. And I've also put here clarity regarding food parts. So I do believe that we are a multiplicity of parts inside us, and that our obsession, addiction to food hasn't just been one part of us, or us as one person. It's more a case of a cluster of parts that kind of have a bit of a conflict going on. A part that wants to lose weight and look a certain way maybe, and have us on a certain diet or regime, exercise routine, etc. And then a part that really loves trifle and chocolate gatto and all those lovely treats, and will just love to stand at the fridge and does that kind of as a habit. And so there can often be a conflict, and quite a lot of vulnerability and pain can be dwelling underneath that. And I really feel like the first step is to create that stillness and breath practice, so we can start to shine a bit of a gentle light on what's happening with the different parts of our nature, and how we can have those parts be much more in collaboration than they have been. So that's point 1. Point 2 is cultivating a FAB network, food and body image network. And this one is essential, and actually comes with the courses just naturally, because the courses and programs I run will straight away connect you to like-minded people who are practicing the same things, finding a holistic way to recover around food and body image issues, lose weight if that's required, gain weight if that's required, and feel the freedom that hasn't been felt for a long time. And really to witness other people's joy and process in this way as they find freedom is just one of the most inspiring and supportive things. So that's point 2, and essential. Again, we can't do this alone. Point 3, I call slowing time while eating, and this is really about the way we eat. So my programs offer quite a lot of guidance in terms of suggestions for how to start to slow and really taste our food, really enjoy our food. You know, it's such an irony. So many people say to me that they love food and that's why they're obsessed with it, or they eat too much of it, or, you know, they're a slave to it because it's just so delicious. But then so often people will eat while watching TV or eat on the go or not really pay attention to what they're eating. And I think to myself, that's not really love of food, because when we love something, we're present with it, we're still with it, we spend time, we take time, we make time for it. And that can so often not be the case when we're struggling and feeling not free around food. So slowing time is about finding the ways that we can do that. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it can take the time it needs to take in order for us to be relaxed when we're eating, really enjoy our food. Like, I enjoy my food more and more and like never before. So this process has nothing to do with enjoying our food less. It's quite the opposite, in fact. So that's point 3. Point 4 is something I call loving boundaries. And this is really about how much are we fueling our bodies, nourishing our bodies? Are we getting the nutrition we need? And by that, I even include like deep nutrition, like that micronutrition. Because when we're not nourishing our gut biomes, you may have heard that term, and when we're not eating in balance that's right for our unique body, we might be craving the things that actually aren't healthy and healthful for our body, because there's a way in which somehow on a deep level we're deprived of the minerals, the nutrients that we actually need. So point 4 is about looking at, are we getting what we need on a deep level? How can we find that out as well? And how can we create routines that support us and that nourish us and that make us feel really vibrant when it comes to food? So that's point 4, really essential too. So point 5 is something I call clarity of direction. It's like, how can I know where I want to go unless I know where I am? And how can I know where I'm going unless I've made that clear in my mind? So it's kind of about sort of being clear where we are in time, and also a little bit where we've come from, although I don't necessarily endorse dwelling too much on that, because really this is about, you know, where am I headed? And there are specific practices when it comes to food and body image that can support us to really right size our dreams and visions, make sure that they're right for us. You know, it's not about what does someone else achieve, what does someone else want to do. We are all so different when it comes to food. So it's about really connecting deeply with our intuition and being realistic and finding the support we need to create the vision that we can then start to step into. So that's really essential too. And finally, this is the kind of big body image one, which is just beautiful. And it's like the cherry on top. I call it happy in our skins. And there's a way where it's vital for us to really love our bodies. And we might not love them straight away in this process. It might be a gentle unfolding, but in my experience, it can be like a love affair. How can we really belong in this life when we don't feel we belong in our bodies? How can we really feel at peace in ourselves when we judge ourselves and look at ourselves in a critical way and feel that we're not good enough and strive to be a certain way that we'll never be? Maybe our bodies just aren't designed to be that way. So it's about finding, how can we love the body that we're in? And that doesn't mean that body won't change through this process naturally. Many people I work with find a much more healthy body to be in, a body that feels much more themselves and suits them and fits them and feels delicious to them. But meanwhile, that process could be slow, it could be fast. How can I love the body I'm in today? And there are specific practices for that, which can really lead to change. That's the paradox, change in a positive direction. And also, how can I be okay if change is slow, or if change isn't necessary even? How can I change my perspective on who I am, how I show up, how I look, and how I feel today? So that's a basic kind of real like whistle-stop tour around the 6-pointed star of FAB, food and body image freedom. And I'm going to stop my share now and come back over to say goodbye to you, because I feel that that's covered the basics. If you really would like to reach out to me, I encourage that. Send me an email or a text, like this video if you're watching it on YouTube. I'll answer any questions about the process of the food freedom steps. It would be my delight to do so. And meanwhile, I wish you a really nourishing, nutrient-filled, vibrant day in your own experience with food in your body today.